New Radio Sports Network and 103.3 The Clipper. Southern Door will host Denmark tonight in a WIAA Division III regional semifinal matchup. And right now we're joined by the head coach of the Southern Door Eagles, Josh Vandenbush. And Coach, a gritty win, if you will, against New Holstein. And how has practice been since then? Obviously, not the start to that game that you wanted, but you certainly played a lot better going down the stretch. And what's been maybe the big focus that you've had in practice this week?
I think we kind of maybe overlooked them a little bit. Plus the lack of playoff experience against that New Holstein team in that first game. Like I talked about the other night, looking at their record, you didn't think they'd be able to put up much of a fight, and our kids might have overlooked it a little bit and came out a little flat. Practice for the last 2 days has been really focused. We've played Denmark earlier this season, like I'm sure we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. So they know that they can play with them. So we had a really good last 2 days of practice.
And when you reflect on that earlier game, I mean, we weren't covering your games quite yet. That was at a point where your team makeup looked a little bit different. How you used your players was a little bit different. And I guess, how do you approach a game like this? Because it's not like, the conference schedule where, the two games against each other may have been a little bit closer. I mean, that was a game that was in, late November, early December, and now it's 3-4 months removed from that point. How do you approach that game? Both, how much your team has grown and potentially how much their team has grown.
Yeah, we're definitely not the same team that played Denmark back in early December, and I'm sure they're not the same team either. They have a lot of new pieces as well to go around, Donovan and Hayden Kunkel. And we were still learning about how our team was really going to play and trying to figure ourselves out. The encouraging thing is that we were right there with them for the whole game. And, we ended up coming up a little bit short, but it's definitely something that we can reflect on and use as a positive moving forward into tonight's game.
Taking a look at the film of them recently, what's really stuck out to you the most?
Well, Donovan Short's kind of going to get his. He can do it all. He can shoot from 25 feet away from the basket. He can post guys up. He has a nasty spin move that he can use to get to the basket. So it's going to be really about controlling him the best that we can, and kind of limiting everybody else around him. And that's no easy task, but I think it's going to take a total team effort in order to do so.
And, Southern Door had their own, I guess, oddly enough, both our UW Green Bay recruits, Ryan Claflin, obviously drew a lot of attention. Donovan Short also kind of in that same realm. How did you kind of notice how teams would play against Ryan, and is any of that applicable tonight when you play against Short?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Teams would look to double Ryan whenever he'd get close to the basket. They'd overplay him so that way they couldn't get him the ball. It's kind of the approach that you want to take with Donovan is you want to keep the ball out of his hands as much as possible. And when he does have the ball, you want 2 or 3 guys to have eyes on him so that way if he goes to the basket, you have guys there to stop him. Like I said earlier, it's going to take everybody on our team to be able to slow a guy like that down. But I think they're up for the challenge.
What kind of matchups do you have on your team that you feel like you're going to be able to take advantage of tonight against the Denmark defense?
I don't know how they're gonna match up with us in man. I'm sure. I don't know how they're going to disperse their players. I'm going to guess that Kunkel's going to guard Drew Doust. He did the last time we played them. He's kind of longer and kind of try to take him away a little bit. And then it's really who is Donovan going to guard? Is he going to guard Jared Hockey? Is he going to guard Taylor Schaefer? Whichever one he's not guarding, I feel like we have an advantage that way, depending on who he decides to guard. And, I think a guy like Nick Peer can have a big game tonight with, guys attacking the basket and him just doing what he does best and moving on the outside and getting open looks.
Past couple of years, you've had to go out onto the road at this stage. How important is it for you to be able to keep this one in Brussels?
It's really important. we played at Denmark earlier this season, and like you said, we've been on the road for some of these games in the past. But, it's definitely comforting having a home game, being able to get ready in your own locker room, being able to kind of go through your normal home game routine, and, the guys being able to go home after school and do their whole routine that they need to do in order to get ready for the game. It's really a blessing that we do have a home game in this situation.
Fill in the blank time, Coach. Southern Door is able to avenge that early season loss to Denmark if your team is able to do what tonight?
Keep Donovan Short in check and not allow offensive rebounds.
All right, once again, Southern Door, Denmark, tonight on 103.3 The Clipper and the New Radio Sports Network. You can also stream the game at newradiosportsnetwork.com. Coach, good luck, and we'll talk to you after the game.
Sounds good. Thanks.
For the New Radio Sports Network, I'm Tim Coles reporting.